The other thing about this new form of computing is it's going to have to force us to rethink how we approach data. Because in the past, we've really thought of data as something that we feed into our traditional computational systems to get results. And so we've had this enormous amount of focus on the structure and format of the data. And it turns out a lot of that effort is probably going to be wasted in the future. A lot of the ways that we are managing data, collecting data, working with data are probably not the right approach for the future because generative AI is much more flexible in not only its definition of what data is, but what it can get data out of and how it can fuse data together and the formats that it can accept. And it's not stuck in this rigid world of the way that we did computing before. So let's take a look at an example of this. Now, the other day, somebody dropped off this catering menu on my door. And I thought, I wonder if generative AI knows how to build lunch orders. So I snapped a picture of this catering menu and I said, I need a lunch order for 15 people. And ChatGPT came back and it gave me a lunch order: house salad, garlic knots. And it's built a really good lunch order. It's got a variety of foods. But the interesting thing, right, is what was the data? It was a picture of the menu. It wasn't a database where somebody had meticulously mapped all of this information into standard, well known forms and fields and carefully curated it. No, I just gave it a picture and it extracted the information it needed in order to solve the problem on demand. And suddenly we can begin solving problems in new ways because we can get data out of things that we couldn't access before. For example, what if you're in a room and you need to figure out how to use the coffee maker? So I was in this hotel room and the coffee maker was giving me trouble. And so I snapped a picture of the coffee maker because it kept flashing this light and I couldn't figure it out. And I said, explain to me step by step how to use this. And it came back and it gave me complete instructions on how to use this Keurig coffee maker. Now, before, to do this, I would have to have some way of querying a database of user manuals of different products in order to discover the instructions and then try to look through an index to find the right page. And it would have required all this structuring and managing of data. And now my querying, the way that I access it is I simply take a picture and say, tell me how to use it step by step. And it not only transforms what can become data, but completely transforms how we query and access data. So suddenly data can be accessed at any time and any place, contextually relevant to where we are in the world in a new way. It's kind of like in The Matrix, when Trinity needs to be able to fly this helicopter to save Neo and everybody else. She doesn't know how to fly the helicopter. And so this operator downloads all the instructions into her brain, and then she flies the helicopter and saves everyone. Except this is getting close to that simply by snapping a picture and saying, tell me how to use it. Because suddenly I can query and access the information, the learning, the instructions on demand in a new way.